Hi, my name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. I produce the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings and the Bias Plus reports. Today is April 20th, 2025, and that day has a special significance, I understand. And this is Ben and Barry on football.
What's going on out there, everybody? This is your co-host. I am Ben Dickerson. And while you're already laughing, man, go ahead. Say what you got to say, bro.
Oh my God.
I know it's eating at you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, before the show, I said to Ben, I said, hey, you got to see this before we start the show. And he was a little confused as to why we had to do it before the show. And the only reason we had to do it before the show is because I just thought it was absolutely hilarious. And I love to start the show off on a really fun, positive note. So I sent him this, where a reporter asked Peyton Manning, what kept you going after such a serious neck injury? And then you remember when he had the neck injury, how much discussion did we have about whether he was going to ever play again? Come back, you know? It was so serious. And they say he paused and said, you met Eli, right? The guys who wear helmets off the field. Man, wait. Who does that remind you of? Who do we know that wore a helmet off the field? It was a baseball helmet.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, going back a little bit. You and I go
It's
back
like,
a little bit.
Is that a batting helmet, bro? Really?
You're walking on top of hockey. So he goes there. Then he says, you might have heard the Giants had to assign someone just to keep track of his favorite blanket during road games so he wouldn't get fuzzy.
Oh, come on.
The fact that my dad had to chaperone his honeymoon and ended up living with him. He just goes on and on. I just thought it was hilarious. Then they got this picture, poor Eli. Look at Eli.
Yeah, with that look. That's a famous look. A look of bewilderment. But yeah, these two are special kind of guys, man. They're both funny in completely different ways, and they play off of each other tremendously. And if you ever watch a game when there's a Manning cast going on, and you watch the Manning cast instead of the regular broadcast, you'll see what I'm talking about. They're constantly getting on each other, and they have guests on while they're doing it. Not only that, but they keep up with what's going on in the game, and it's really funny. They're funny.
Oh my God. He said, I just couldn't retire with fewer Super Bowls than him.
Couldn't do it.
Neck injury and all.
Right. But it makes sense. Think about it. Sibling rivalries, it makes sense.
I mean, you remember the commercial? What was the commercial where they're walking down the hall and then like backwards kicking each other?
Kicking it. Yeah, like they're 12.
Oh my goodness. You gotta love those guys. All right, you got me steaming up my glasses laughing here, baby. Excuse the mark on my face. Obviously, I have not learned how to shave yet. So I see. So you're repping the New York Liberty, eh?
Yeah. So we
got
got
the chance,
the
right? They won the championship, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We got the draft coming up, and obviously I'm a New York Giants fan, and I wish the Giants well in this upcoming draft. I think it's time for our front office to turn things around after a few very questionable moves lately. One being Saquon Barkley being let go because of money. But anyway, I do think it's time for us to turn it around. But instead of wearing Giants gear today, I decided to wear first place New York Yankees gear and championship WNBA gear, okay, to hopefully help turn things around for the New York Football Giants, team that I hold close to my heart.
We love it, New York Football Giants. And Benny, we're together on the Yankees thing. So, we're together on that. Real quick, what do you think about this bat situation?
The torpedo bats?
Yeah. You're the baseball guy here.
Yeah, so first of all, when I first heard about it, I thought it was kind of a joke. Then I looked it up. and I see the bat's shaped a little bit differently. But evidently, the dimensions of the bat and the length that's allowed and the width that's allowed and all that stuff is still within the parameters of the rules. So it's up to the player if they want to go to it or not. Several players have, lots of players have not. I don't know that. Well, the people that are using it seem to like it for whatever reason. So I think it's great.
Yankees went on a bit of a hot streak hitting the ball since they started using it, didn't they?
Yeah, well, they're 13-8 right now, so that's like probably tied for the second best record in baseball. I think the Mets got them by a game, and they have the same record as the Phillies. So they're like the top three teams in baseball right now, regardless of National League or American League. That's where it's at. But yeah, for sure. I hope that we can tighten up our pitching a little bit, but we got the bats. We're hitting the ball. So as long as that holds up, we'll be good.
My understanding of this bat is that if you hit it in the sweet spot, it's that much sweeter.
Yeah, it's going to go. Yeah.
It's going to go. So that's kind of where that's at. All right, Benny. Well, look, the draft is close upon us. How much time we got for that bad boy, that draft coming up?
It starts next weekend.
Yeah, man.
Well, during the week, actually, Thursday.
Okay. Yeah, it usually starts. And so this is going to be hot. We're going to get ready to do the Ben Dickerson's mock draft 2.0 for the 2025 NFL draft. And before we kick it off, do you have any preliminary words?
All I got to say is this 2.0 looks really good to me. There were several players that I had in my mock draft 1.0 that are no longer in this one. Obviously, I'm only doing the first round. I've done pretty well over the past two drafts. Hopefully, I'll do the same or better in this one. As I go through it, I'll try to make sure that if, in fact, I did change who I had going to whatever team, that I let you know. And if it's the same player, I will let you know. So with that being said, I'm ready to get going. What do you think?
All right.
Okay, so let's get started here. Again, this is my mock draft. These are the players that I believe each team will take. It also doesn't take into consideration any trades that might happen, trading of picks, although and that's for good reason, because this is one of the first drafts where we've gotten this close to the actual thing and there haven't been any changes or any trading of picks yet within the first round. They could still happen between now and when the draft begins. It could still happen during the draft. But up to this point, few days away, hasn't happened yet. So I won't be taking trading of picks into consideration. This is who I think is the best player for each team as we go. At the number one pick, the number one pick overall goes to the Tennessee Titans. That goes to quarterback Cam Ward from Miami, 6'2", 219. I believe the consensus is that this guy should be the number one pick in the draft. He's the best player in the class of the most important position in the NFL, which is quarterback. Outstanding, elite arm talent, outstanding arm strength, quick release, amazing accuracy, throws from all platforms, just what every team needs. So that's going to be Cam Ward going to the Tennessee Titans at number one.
Hell of a pick, Benny. Hell of a pick. And you know something? I don't think Shedeur Sanders can argue with you.
The only person that I've really heard really tooting Shedeur's horn is Mel Kiper, of all people. Mm-hmm. He's still sticking to the point that he thinks Shedeur is the best quarterback in this draft. And he could end up being right. We'll see.
Well, I got some questions, but okay. What you got next?
Next up, with the number 2 pick in the draft, the Cleveland Browns, I believe, will go with edge rusher Abdul Carter out of Penn State, 6'3", 250. There's been a lot of talk that the Browns might, in fact, take Shedeur. There's also been a lot of talk that the Browns may, in fact, take Travis Hunter. So this is the most intriguing pick already at number 2 in the draft so far. I can't wait till this thing gets started and the Titans get it out of the way to take Cam Ward so I can see what Cleveland's going to do, because what they do impacts the Giants tremendously. Now let's talk about Abdul Carter right quick. In case anybody didn't know, this kid's from Philly. He's from North Philly. He used to play for the old North Philly Aztecs. Yeah, he went to high school at LaSalle College High School, where he played weak side linebacker mostly, and he was recruited by Penn State as a weak side linebacker. But while at Penn State, the coaches decided to move him to edge rusher in his junior year, and he racked up 18 tackles for loss and 8 sacks in 10 games. It was tremendous. Took to the change immediately and was great. Great athlete, great quickness, explosive. He's got speed and bend, makes him a nightmare as a pass rusher. And if the Cleveland Browns take him, that puts him on the other side of the line for Myles Garrett. How they can turn that down, I do not know. Anything can happen, but I believe that's how that's going to go for the Cleveland Browns at the number 2 spot.
Man, that is tremendous. Let me ask you, can he drop back in coverage at all?
Yes. He started out as a linebacker coverage, yeah. So he can do that. So he can be used in multiple ways.
Awesome. All right, what's up?
Okay, number 3 goes to my New York Football Giants. I believe, and I got my fingers crossed, that they will take Travis Hunter. Now, he doesn't want to be called athlete. He wants to be called wide receiver / DB. I have no problem with that. There seems to be a lot of questions. Oh, he's 6 feet tall, 188 out of Colorado, obviously. A lot of insiders are saying that they believe he should be primarily a cornerback. And then the team, whatever team takes him, should set up a package of plays for him on offense. I believe if the Giants, in fact, take him, they should play him primarily at wide receiver and situationally at defensive back. Now, I understand why the people are saying defensive back first, and that's because, when you play multiple coverages and multiple defensive schemes, it's a little tough. You have to spend extra time in those meetings to make sure that you got all that down so you're always where you're supposed to be and all that stuff. But he's such a tremendous wide receiver. I think people forget about that. His numbers are comparable with most of the top wide receivers in this class, either with receptions, yardage, and touchdowns. He's up in the top 3 to 5 in every category compared to all the other guys in this class. So I have no problem with, and again, like I said, this is what I feel is best for the Giants. Malik Neighbors on one side, him on the other side, they can resurrect Russell Wilson's career, at least for a couple of years, until the Giants can come up with another quarterback, which may be this draft in a later round or could be next year's draft. We'll see. But that's how I see that for the New York Giants at the number 3 pick.
Two things. I'm going to say the second thing first.
Then that would make it the first thing.
Yeah, it would. I read that he said that he wouldn't go someplace if he couldn't play both ways.
Yeah.
He said that?
He said that.
Okay. All right.
In fact, he even went so far as to say, I'll stop playing if I can't play both ways.
That's okay. I know somewhere along those lines. I mean, he's pushing this thing hard with a little 85-pound self. But resurrecting Russell's career was something that I hadn't really thought about it in that manner until you said it. And then I thought, could this be gift 2?
It could be. If it happens, listen, everybody's like, oh, the Giants.
Explain gift 1 for the people so they know.
Gift 1 was when the Giants drafted Saquon Barkley. Obviously, it was getting near the end of Eli Manning's career, and the offense obviously needed help. And the help came gift wrapped as Saquon Barkley had a tremendous rookie year, and it looked like he was going to be a big-time part of that offense for a long time. He came up with an injury and came back from the injury and wasn't quite the same. But then the second year after the knee injury, as happens with a lot of skill position players, he played a lot better. And then the money thing, and the rest is history. But yeah, this could be.
But they had the opportunity to go after a quarterback to replace Eli.
That's true, and they didn't do it.
They went and got the
right,
Saquon.
Right, and the word was that was dumb. You never spend a high first round pick on a running back, and that goes under the whole running back narrative of them being devalued and all that. Yet every year it keeps on happening. It's going to happen again this year. Thankfully, most part of that is thankfully to how well Saquon has done, being how many years in the league? 6, 5? Yeah, right. So, but that's a whole nother story for another day.
Exactly. All righty, Benny. So then that wraps it up for Mr. Travis Hunter. Who's next?
Next up, we have the number 4 pick in the draft, which goes to the New England Patriots. That one I'm going to stick to my original and go with Will Campbell, offensive tackle out of LSU, 6'6", 319 pounds. Great combination of size, power, and mobility. This guy moves really, really well. In pass protection, has really good pass protection technique, even at his size. And in the run game, he will maul you. This guy's tremendously big, strong, and fast. Going to be a lot of problem. It's going to be a big problem for a whole lot of defenses. It's Will Campbell. I think he's going to go to the New England Patriots.
Campbell to the Patriots. Who's up next?
Up next, at number 5, 5th round in the pick goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They need a lot of help, but they especially need help on the D-line. I think they're going to try to take the best D tackle in the class. I believe the best D tackle in the class would be Mason Graham. He's out of Michigan, 6'4", 296. He can play in multiple technique alignments. That's a huge plus. And you're going to hear me say that a lot as we go down this list.
That's a huge plus?
Excuse me?
That's a huge plus? That's what you're going to say a lot?
Yes. If you can play more than one position, or you can play in multiple techniques and multiple defensive or offensive alignments.
Okay.
That's a huge plus. Sometimes a lot of these offensive tackles, maybe they don't have quite the footwork to be a good tackle in the pros, but they have the size and they have everything else, and they get moved to guard. Still makes them worth a first-round pick. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's up to the team. Everything depends on the team that selects these guys as to how they're going to do and where they're going to fit in, and if they're going to be an immediate impact player or not. This guy's got raw power. That allows him to take on double team blocks, and that makes him an immediate factor against the run, and he can collapse the pocket on pass plays coming from the D tackle spot. So, yeah, you want great edge rushers, but it's also nice to have a D tackle who can collapse the pocket from the middle, because that's where the quarterback feels the pressure the most immediately, is if it's coming up the middle. And this guy, Mason Graham, can do that.
Okay. All right. Next up
at the number 6 pick, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. And we talked about running backs, and here he is. Ashton Jeanty, Boise State, 5'9", 211 pounds. And like you said, you heard about Austin Jeanty. You might have even watched a game or two. You might have seen some YouTube footage of him. But when you see him with his shirt off, it's a whole nother story, ain't it?
Another story.
That boy, would you say he looks like a ball of muscles?
Very hokey looking dude. He's a hokey guy.
Hokey little 5'9", 211.
You know, sitting there, muscles popping. He's just standing talking to the lady interviewing him. We can't help it. Muscles are popping out his head, his arms, is everywhere, man. You know,
I think this kid's going to be a tremendous player.
And what's the word that they always use with him, Benny? I know you're going to say it.
I forgot what.
Impact
player?
Contact balance.
Oh, contact balance. Yes. I ain't going to get to that. So anyway, I think this is a great pick for the Raiders. Think about the Raiders offense. First of all, they just went out and got Geno Smith. That solidifies their quarterback position, and he will be a leader of their offense. And you know what the Raiders have gone through with Gardner Minshew and this guy and that guy at quarterback. So they got Geno now. So that solidifies that.
That's right. Yeah, they got Geno. So they don't have to go after a quarterback.
Exactly. They got a decent receiver group. I'm not saying they couldn't use another, but they got a decent receiver group. And the line is getting a little bit better, but it's better enough that if they add Genty to this team, it gives them a big-time playmaker at a position where they really, really need one. He hits the holes and accelerates very quickly. He has elite vision and contact balance. He has good hands. That makes him a factor in the passing game. And he can hold his own in pass protection, which is very, very important.
That's a question.
You got to be able to pass block.
5'9", right? So he ain't the biggest.
5'9", 211. When he gets in a pass rusher's chest, he's tough to move. And that's a technique that every running back does not easily master. Mm-hmm. That takes work. That takes work. He seems to have already gotten that down. So he's a really good pass protector. So that's the Raiders with Austin Genty at number 6.
Quick question. He had some things to say recently about him taking him or.
Yeah, well, you know, these guys get with their agents and they start talking strategy and what can happen and what can't happen and where you think you want to go and what you need to do to say and take your other visits and by who looked at your pro day, blah, blah, blah. So now he's starting to pump up his brand. And he said something about being the best player, I think, in the draft. I think he's touting himself as best player in this draft, which, sure, why not?
And he said something about this is tackle football. Like we're playing tackle football here. Like you want somebody that people cannot tackle or something like that.
Yeah. If you're playing tackle football, you want to pick a guy that people can't tackle. So yeah, he's pumping himself up. And why not? Everybody else does it. The quarterbacks do it.
I'm not mad at him. I just, I heard it. I was like, he had been so quiet. You really hadn't heard anything from him. So
that's true. That's true.
Like, okay, that's
well, that's kind of cool. I like that kind of stuff. That's great.
Kind of stuff, right? All right. Yeah. I'm a fan already, so I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. All right, who's up next?
So up next at the number 7 pick, we have the New York Jets. I believe the New York Jets, now that they have their new quarterback, Justin Fields, are going to get some line help to help protect him. And that line help would come in the body of Kelvin Banks, who was an offensive tackle out of Texas, 6'5", 325. That's a big guy. Again, with Justin Fields now their starting quarterback, their offensive scheme will emphasize plays out of the shotgun, and they can get the quarterback on the move, and they're going to run a lot of RPOs. So this guy would fit in that offense very well. He's versatile enough to play tackle or guard, big plus. He has superior pass protection skills already, and he actually excels at zone blocking schemes and has RPO experience. So that makes him the perfect match for the New York Jets.
Awesome. Yeah. You got to remember Justin Fields there, and then the new coach bringing in Justin Fields. The question is, how is he going to approach that offense? With Justin, are we looking at an option offense or something a little less? A little more.
Yeah, they're going to be RPO heavy.
Yeah, that's what I'm beginning to wonder about. Should be fun. All right, who's up next?
Up next at number 8. We have the Carolina Panthers. They need help on defense, among other places. But if you need help on defense, you want to get the best pass rusher you can possibly get. If you guys have been watching TV lately, you've heard this guy's name, Mykel Williams. He's out of Georgia. He's an edge rusher, 6'5", 260. Carolina basically runs a 3-4 defense. Williams is versatile enough to play in any scheme. He can be a traditional hand-in-the-dirt D end or a stand-up edge rusher. He can set the edge against the run. He's already good against the run, and he's dominant bull rusher off the edge. He might need a little work with his hands and getting tackles off of him. But other than that, right now he's been winning with just his strength and athleticism. So great pick for the Carolina Panthers. Up next with the number 9 pick, we have the New Orleans Saints. There's been a lot of talk about this, but try to remember, I said it first. At number 9, I believe the Saints will take quarterback Shedeur Sanders. 6'1.5", 212 pounds. In my estimation, there is no way Kellen Moore, who has been an offensive coordinator for Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts, is going to be satisfied with a 34-year-old Derek Carr as his quarterback. And by the way, not only that, but now he's dealing with an off-season shoulder injury. I don't know how he got a shoulder injury in the off-season, but he did. And he's taking care of that now. So I don't even know if he's going to be able to be a table setter or a bridge quarterback, as they call it, for Shedeur. Shedeur, if they pick him, which I believe they should, and I believe they will, he may have to come in and start off right away. But I'm sure if, in fact, that ends up being the case, he will have earned it. Sanders is the perfect guy to be the next quarterback for Kellen Moore. He has good mobility in the pocket. Even though he's not a runner, he has those feet. He has a lightning quick release. He's shown that he can diagnose defenses pre-snap. And he's also shown outstanding ball security. He doesn't fumble a lot. And he took a lot of hits last year at Colorado, mostly from holding the ball too long. But they can they can straighten that out in training camp. He's poised under pressure, and he can command a huddle. No doubt about it, the guy is a leader, and he's very, very intelligent. But they'll find all that out once they pick him. So I got Shedeur Sanders going to the Saints.
All right, Shedeur. And everybody's saying about Shedeur that the computer is top notch. He's processing.
Yes.
He's processing and he's accurate.
Yes.
He's processing and he's accurate. And, you don't need a howitzer of an arm. He can get the ball downfield if you got to get it downfield. But the main thing is within that normal framework of a 10 to 30-yard pass, he's dead. He's really
exactly.
Dead, So, and like you said, he might be holding the ball too long. I don't know if that was a function of the offense that he was dealing with in Colorado, whether his guys were getting open, not getting open, and all of that kind of stuff. But it did just make me want to go burp the baby. So
yeah, oh yeah.
He's burping the baby. All right, Shedeur, that's the only thing we can say bad about you. You might be burping the baby a bit much. All right. Who's up next?
We'll see. Okay, the number 10 pick belongs to the Chicago Bears. And I think the Chicago Bears need to tighten up some of that offense, and they will select running back Travion Henderson out of Ohio State. Let's remember that Ohio State was the national champions this past season, also in college. Travion Henderson is 5'10", 202, really nice size for a running back. He contributed 1,016 yards and 11 total touchdowns to the national championship team at Ohio State in his final season last season. He runs with patience, allowing his blocks to set up. He then uses his elite acceleration to burst through holes and turn short gains into long runs. He has exceptional vision, contact balance, and reliable hands in the passing game. His superior pass blocking skills set him apart from almost every other running back in this class, which is a very big added incentive for the Bears, who have to keep Caleb Williams on his feet. So I believe they will have special incentive to make Travion Henderson their number 1 pick.
Man, he's going to a really good place with the new coach.
Yes.
Man, potentially very creative offense now, Does even running the ball,
Yeah.
Run that ball on you. He ran that ball in Detroit, that's for sure. And he has some great running backs, man. So he could be going.
Yeah. If he gets selected by the Bears, he should be very, very excited about the role that he plays, because the 1-2 punch that the Lions had in their offense with their running backs, when he comes here, he's got Sweat.
Right.
I'm sorry, Swift.
Swift. Yeah, Swift.
Swift will be the one part of that 1-2 punch with the Bears. If in fact he goes there. So I think that's the smart pick for them.
So there you go with Mr. Travion Henderson. All right, who's up next?
Up next is your beloved San Francisco 49ers with the 11th pick in the draft. They obviously need offensive line help. I got them taking offensive tackle Josh Simmons, also out of national champion Ohio State, 6'5", 317 pounds. Although he only played, I know you're going to have some talk for me on this one. So let me try to make this as easy as possible for you. Although he only played 6 games last season because he tore his patellar tendon, he was able to participate in Ohio State's pro day. He didn't go to combine. Well, he didn't work out at the combine, but he did make it to Ohio State's pro day, and it looks like he did really well, and his rehab has gone very well. And before the injury, he was projected as the best offensive tackle in this class. He has the strength, the power, and the mean streak necessary in the run game, as well as the footwork and hand technique and anchor against bull rushers and speed rushers off the edge. He can handle everything. So even though he didn't finish out the season, it looks like his rehab is going extremely well. He looked real good in his pro day, and it looks like he's going to be ready for training camp. So if the Niners take him, they got a guy could be an offensive tackle on the right side and then end up being their left tackle of the future.
We need a left tackle of the future, no doubt about it. I mean, it's nice to bring somebody into that caliber. I mean, Ben, how long have I been complaining about our offensive line, you know?
Right.
And saying that, and man, we talked a little bit about what your Giants are going to be doing, you know, and having to do, and talked about the gift and potentially the gift too. I don't know what to say about my Niners relative to this contract with Purdy, because I'm probably the toughest guy on Purdy. Purdy'd be getting a mid to high 40s contract with a lot of incentives if I was the GM, and I like him.
So he's pushing for like 50, right?
I think he's pushing for like 60 at this point.
That's not going to happen, but I don't blame him for trying it.
You know, but I mean, the bottom line is I'm one of those people. I'm like, you can't give the quarterback all the money when you really got a lot of places that need to be filled in, and the quarterback needs all of those places to be filled in for him to operate at optimum efficiency in the framework of that offense. And that's how that offense basically is, you know? So you got to have a good run game. You got to have a good defense. You got to have a good offensive line. And like I said, we saw if you can't block those edge rushers, what the Eagles broke his arm in the playoff game, you got to have that, you know? So long story short, I like Purdy. I think we can be successful with Purdy, but you need those offensive linemen. So I'm loving taking a guy like that. And I do like what you said about him having a mean streak, because I kind of looking at him and I'm going, he looked like he got a mean streak in there somewhere. So awesome.
Yeah, he's a tough guy.
Awesome. All right. So that's Josh Simmons. There you go.
Yes, sir. So now with the number 12 pick in the draft, the Dallas Cowboys, I believe, should take wide receiver Ted McMillan. This wide receiver class is a little tricky. There's nobody that's super outstanding, but I would say one of the two closest to being super outstanding, or possibly could be, one of them is this guy, Ted McMillan. He's out of Arizona, 6'5", 212 pounds, really good size. Dak and CeeDee Lamb obviously need help. McMillan doesn't have great speed, but he does have great size. He does have great hands, and he's a really, really good route runner. Sometimes that's all it takes. A lot of times that's all it takes. I remember when Jerry Rice came out and ran like a 4.6 40, and everybody's like, oh, woe is me. And look how that turned out. But anyway, he runs the entire route tree, which is also very important. At least to me it is. He can play outside. or in the slot, and he's a threat all over the field. He gets separation from DBs, even though he's not super fast, and he's especially scary in the red zone. So Ted McMillan to the Dallas Cowboys, I think, is the right pick.
Dallas Cowboys, Ted McMillan. All right, but do they have a bigger need for linemen right now?
Well, it depends on what you consider. First of all, I'll tell you what. This is the way I heard somebody on television put it. When the Dallas Cowboys come out and they line up against the Eagles defense, who's going to scare them besides CeeDee Lamb?
Yeah.
Nobody. Nobody.
But didn't they just have somebody that walked away just now recently? Like retired or something? Was that their offensive lineman for the Cowboys?
I don't think he walked away. They lost Zach Martin,
Okay.
but I think he signed with somebody else.
Okay. All right. All right.
Oh, listen, believe me, almost every single team in the league besides the Eagles and maybe two other teams need multiple positions covered. You got to take the one. This is the first round. So the guy you decide to take has to be somebody that's going to be an impact player right off the bat, regardless of the position you take him at, if you have multiple weaknesses. The other guys, you're just going to have to fill in as the draft goes on. That was a major need, I believe, for them. We'll see how they feel about it. But yeah, that's the way I see that.
All righty. Good stuff. Good stuff. Tetarola. Tet.
Yeah.
They try to leave it alone, just say Tet.
Well, I'll probably end up calling T-Mac.
Team. Oh my goodness. All right, who's up?
At the number 13 pick in the draft, we have the Miami Dolphins. A lot of stuff going on down in Miami. I'd like them taking a corner. That would be Jahdae Barron. Now, there's a lot of questions about who the best corner is this year. I got most of them going in the first round. But I think the guy that fits the Dolphins best is Jahdae Barron. He's out of Texas, 5'11", 194. Not a big corner, but I think a good size. Because Miami addressed their need for a starting guard, they needed a guard really bad. They had like nobody to fill that spot on their offensive line. But they got somebody in free agency. I can't tell you who it was right off the bat because I've been thinking about these rookies so long. But anyway, they did fill that need. So their next need turned out to be cornerback. And that was even before Jalen Ramsey decided that he wanted to be traded. So now that he wants to be traded, that makes corner even a bigger need. I believe Jahdae Barron is perfect for the zone-heavy schemes that the Dolphins use. He has experience playing outside and in nickel, and he has even played a little bit of safety in his college career. So again, that can be very helpful for a team down the road. He has exceptional route recognition skills, which is very important in a scheme that's heavy with zone. And he excels in off coverage anyway. So a zone-heavy team is perfect for him. I believe he will be perfect for the Dolphins.
Awesome. Awesome. Jahdae Barron. All right.
Barron.
Who's next?
Next up, the Indianapolis Colts are picking at number 14. They're going to take a tight end. This one, I think Mel Kiper and everybody else agrees with me on this one. Tight end, Tyler Warren. He looks like the number one tight end. He's out of Penn State, 6'6", 261. Some teams slept on who was the guy last year the Raiders got him? The tight end. I got so many names in my head. Everybody knows who I'm talking about. Tight end out of Georgia. A lot of teams slept on this guy, and he came out and he was balling right off the bat. Well, the Colts won't sleep on Tyler Warren. They're going to take him with their first round pick. He's a really big kid with good speed, very instinctive route runner. He's got real tough cover. He's a real tough cover for linebackers, so you may have to play him with a strong safety, if anything, once he starts running those seam routes and fooling around underneath, looking for places to get open and catch the ball. His blocking ability is a little raw, but he's a very willing participant in the run game. There's no doubt about it. This is a tough kid. Oh, here's something you might like, Bear. He had 8 receiving touchdowns last season, right? But he also scored on the ground running out of the Wildcat.
Ooh,
And he threw a touchdown pass.
my kind of guy.
Turns out he was a quarterback in high school. So there you go, Indianapolis Colts. I like you taking Tyler Warren.
So who's going to be quarterback in for him?
That's, bro, we could talk all day about almost every one of these teams individually. I'm telling you, I have no idea. Anthony Richardson's job ever since his first season has been teetering. I have no clue how this is going to turn out. But I tell you what, he better be ready come training camp. He better be ready come training camp.
Tight end, it's probably a quarterback's best friend. You know, we know.
Right.
We know how close Brady and
Gronk were. Sure.
So, yeah, that's it. And you said he's how tall?
He is 6'6", 261.
Gronk-esque.
And he can run.
Gronk-esque. Yes. Okay. A 6'6" quarterback. Yeah, you must be fun to watch in high school, Jimmy Christmas.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
No?
That's crazy.
Okay. Next up,
with the number 15 pick, the Atlanta Falcons need help on defense. I believe they will take linebacker Jihad Campbell out of Alabama, 6'3", 244 pounds. The Falcons didn't do well getting pressure on opposing quarterbacks last season. That was a big weakness for them. I originally had them taking an edge guy, but because they're going to run multiple defensive schemes, they run some 3-4, and they also run some 4-3. I believe they will look for a more versatile player. Campbell would be that kind of guy with his versatility. He can be that guy bringing the pressure off the edge and up the middle. He can also drop and play in zone coverages. He's got good ball skills, good hands. He played receiver in high school. He's a big hitter against the run, and he seldom misses tackles. So he's accurate with tackles, and he brings the wood. So, yeah, I like Jihad Campbell going to the Atlanta Falcons.
Jihad Campbell. Okay. All right. Good stuff. Who's up?
With the number 16 pick in the draft, the Arizona Cardinals, needing help on offense, obviously, would go for offensive tackle Josh Connerly Jr. out of Oregon. He's 6'4", 318 pounds. The Cardinals emphasize the run, and they need a big, strong offensive tackle that's ready to play on day one. Connerly looks like he can be a day one starter. He moves very well in space. He excels at pulling on run plays and getting out on screens. That's important, especially when you got a running back like James Conner, who does all that kind of stuff. He has the quickness and the hand technique to counter speedy edge rushers, and he's as well as being a good. He's got good technique against bull rushers too. He's got good anchor. That's the word I was looking for. He's got a good anchor against bull rushers, great hand technique against edge rushers. So big time get for them if they can get Josh Connerly Jr. for their offensive tackle.
Awesome. There you go. Looks like a fun guy. All right, who's next?
Okay. The number 17 pick goes to the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, originally I had them taking an edge rusher, Shamar Stewart. But after further study, I decided to change that. I'm still sticking with edge rusher, but I'm going to have them take James Pierce Jr. James Pierce Jr. is out of Tennessee. He's 6'5", 243. An edge to help Trey Hendrickson or possibly replace him because he's looking for a deal, looking for a trade. That's going to be a big priority. for them. That's why I say they're going to take an edge rusher. I believe James Pierce Jr. will fit the bill for them. He has elite explosion coming off the edge. His speed and his bend give him a big advantage over most offensive tackles, and his hand technique is also very advanced. He's a day one starter as a situational pass rusher, if nothing else. So he can get to the passer without a problem. He may need some work defending the run, but at least you know you got somebody that can get after the other team's quarterback if, in fact, you take him. So, yeah, James Pierce Jr. to the Bengals at number 17.
All right, James Pierce Jr. Good stuff. Who's up?
Okay, with the number 18 pick, the Seattle Seahawks will take an offensive tackle. Greg Zabel is his name. He's out of North Dakota State. Now, this guy can play tackle and he can play guard. So that versatility will be good for the Seahawks. Makes it smart for them to take him. He's 6'6", 305. Primarily, he played offensive tackle, but he's actually had experience at all 5 offensive line positions, meaning, he can play center also. Can't ask for a more versatile guy. He anchors well in pass protection and especially picks up stunts and blitzes. He pulls well, showing impressive mobility for his size, and he finishes his blocks, which means we're looking at a guy that gives out a lot of pancakes and plays to the echo of the whistle, as they like to say. So he should be a big pickup for the Seattle Seahawks. Very versatile offensive lineman.
So, Benny, I should be looking for some highlights from him next year on, Get Up in the Morning, where they have the pancakes?
Yes. Yes, he's that kind of guy, especially in the run game.
All right. Looking forward to that. Okay, great. Next up,
with the number 19 pick in the draft, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I was very conflicted about this team, but I got them going cornerback. There's a couple of really good cornerbacks out there. I believe they're going to grab one, even though they need help at some other positions. This will tighten up that Tampa 2 defense. His name is Will Johnson. Will Johnson played for Michigan, 6'2", 202, real good size for a corner. The Bucs in the offseason signed Hassan Reddick. That kind of took care of their D-line needs. I believe I originally had them going with an edge rusher, but I changed that because they did pick up Hassan Reddick in the offseason. So he will take care of that need immediately, and they can go corner. So I think they'll take Johnson at corner. Johnson will fit well in the Tampa 2 zone defense, as I said. Most guys his size have trouble covering small, shifty receivers, but Johnson has very quick feet, very fluid hips. That allows him to handle all types of receivers, the big, tall guys and the short, shifty guys. And he's versatile enough to play off coverage and zone, and he can play press man. So he'll fit in with that defensive scheme very, very well. That's Will Johnson to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Will Johnson to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Nothing like being on that Tampa Bay defense. Phew, historic. All right, we'll see what happens with Will. Who you got next?
With the number 20 pick, the Denver Broncos need a running back to fill in for that offense. I originally had them taking Omarion Hampton. However, after further study, I decided to go with Dylan Sampson, running back out of Tennessee. He's 5'11", 200 pounds. Obviously, Javonte Williams signed with the Dallas Cowboys in the offseason, so he's now gone. He was the starting running back. So they need a running back to make sure that Bo Nix has all the weapons he can use. Receiver-wise, the Broncos are in pretty good shape, but they need that top-notch running back. Sampson fits the bill for them. I like Sampson over Hampton because his running style is better suited for the Broncos' outside zone running blocking scheme. They like to run the outside zone. It's basically the same running scheme and blocking scheme that they used when they had when Elway was the quarterback, and he won a couple Super Bowls.
Yeah,
So
I'm sitting here thinking, wait a minute, this ain't the same coach that Elway had running the same scheme.
yeah, they're running the same scheme. That
Wow.
scheme still
Okay.
works for them. That's the same scheme they're going to use. Yes.
Okay.
He excels at cutback runs, and he has exceptional zone read patience and decision-making skills. He also has good hands, and he's surprisingly solid in pass protection, which I always emphasize. So that's why I like Dylan Sampson out of Tennessee for the Broncos.
Dylan Sampson. All right, Dylan. What's up? Next up.
Next up at number 21, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Very conflicted over this one, but I got it. And there's a whole lot of maybes and ifs and shouldas, wouldas, couldas, and all that stuff for the Steelers. So it's really hard to call. I mean, let's face it, they're still talking about Aaron Rodgers at quarterback and pumping up that quarterback need and the whole, never mind, I'm talking too much. Steelers need help on defense. Steelers going to take defensive end Derek Harmon. He's out of Oregon. Great size, 6'5", 313 pounds. He's the type of player that the Steelers love. He's big, he's powerful, he's got elite upper body strength, he's a devastating bull rusher, and he's also strong defending against the run. So he's got Steelers written all over him, or Steelers defense written all over him. If you ask me, I believe that'd be a good pick for them in the first round.
All right, Derek Harmon. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right.
At number 22, the Los Angeles Chargers will take tight end, another tight end in the first round, Colston Loveland out of Michigan, 6'5", 245 pounds. Loveland played for Jim Harbaugh at Michigan before he came back to the NFL. And the Chargers need more reliable pass catchers for their offense. He has good speed for his size. He high points the ball in contested situations, and he runs very well after the catch. Another nightmare in the red zone. 6'5", 245, Colston Loveland to the Chargers.
All right, Colston. Way to go. Whew. Next up.
Next up, with the number 23 pick, your son will be interested in this one, and I think he'll be very happy with this pick. The Green Bay Packers will take wide receiver Matthew Golden out of Texas, 6 feet tall, 195 pounds. Christian Watson suffered a torn ACL. He won't be ready to go until midseason or a little after midseason. That leaves Jaden Reed and Romeo Doubs. So the Packers need a dynamic playmaker as their third wideout. Matt LaFleur's offense runs 3 wideouts quite a bit, so they need that third guy. Golden should handle that. I think he's their guy for real. I really do. I think he fits in well with them. He's lightning fast. He'll be an immediate deep threat, but he's actually more than that. He runs the entire route tree from the slot and from the outside, and he can separate at any level. So I believe the Green Bay Packers will go with Matthew Golden to keep that offense in good shape for Jordan Love.
Is that the fastest time at the combine?
Over everybody?
At the combine?
No. A DB had that, and he's coming up.
He's coming up. Okay, so Matthew Golden, eh? That's
yes.
Stuff. All right, Matthew. Next up?
Next up, with the 24th pick. Oh, we're almost done. With the 24th pick, the Minnesota Vikings select a corner, Benjamin Morrison, out of Notre Dame, 6 feet, 190 pounds. He's a very rare DB that can play multiple techniques in any coverage scheme. He excels in man coverage, but he also has advanced route recognition skills in zone and is not afraid to come downhill and deliver a blow against the run. He'll be perfect for B-Flow's defense. Perfect, because they play a lot of man.
Right, okay. All right, getting this chance to shine. Man up. Benjamin Morrison. All right, Benny, next up.
With the 25th pick in the draft, the Houston Texans. I had them taking Matthew Golden at first because I know they pretty much are down to Nico Collins at this point since they let Stephon Diggs get away. But I got them taking a bigger need. Offensive tackle Wyatt Millum out of West Virginia. This guy's 6'6", 313 pounds. Protecting C.J. Stroud obviously is a big priority. They need to get offensive line help. I think this guy fits the bill. They brought in some offensive line help in free agency, but a big, strong young guy who can be a cornerstone player sooner, if not later, would be a great find. I believe this guy Millum is that guy. He has the size and the technique and experience to be able to play either tackle spot, but his best position could actually turn out to be guard. His run blocking is also very refined, but he does have a little bit of trouble on the outside with elite pass rushers that have a lot of speed and a lot of bend, which is exactly why I'm saying that he may end up at guard. But either way, he's a top-notch player as far as run blocking and handling bull rushers. So I got him going to them.
All right. Wyatt Millum. Wyatt Millum. All right. Next up with the 26th pick, the LA Rams select cornerback Maxwell Hairston out of Kentucky, 5'11", 183 pounds. His 40 time was the fastest of any player at the combine, regardless of position. He excels in zone coverage, which is exactly what the Rams use the most rather, and specifically in cover 3 with great route running recognition skills and advanced instincts for the ball. Great hands, great eyes, great vision. This guy's going to play very well in the Rams zone defense. And he's got the speed, recovery speed, and able to jump routes and come up and make hits. Speed on top of speed.
Yeah.
However, I don't know if you ever seen that little meme joke that goes around on Facebook, but it makes me want to say, I want to tell my grandkids that that's Chris Rock.
Oh, okay.
I think he looks like Chris Rock. Look at that, tell you.
Kinda,
the smile and, shape of it. He looks like Chris Rock to me. Every time I see him. And you had him in a different spot last time, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Well, I know I had Jahdae Barron going to the Dolphins, but I had him going to the Rams now. I forget who I originally had going to the Rams.
Okay. Maxwell Hairston.
Yes.
AKA Chris Rock. All right, good. Who's up next?
The number 27 pick goes to the Baltimore Ravens. Now, this one I remember. I originally had them taking a safety, Malachi Starks. I still have them taking a safety, just a different one. That would be Nick Emenwari out of South Carolina, 6'3", big guy, 6'3", 220. Great combination of size, speed, and physicality, which is exactly what you want out of your safety. The Ravens are a very heavy zone team. They play 2 high safeties and or quarters coverage quite a bit. Emenwari's versatility allows him to roam the deep middle, play man-to-man on tight ends, and play in the box and come downhill and deliver business decision type hits. This is the kind of guy you want for a safety. This guy's got Raven written all over him. Nick Emenwari.
And he's going to play opposite the other safety.
Oh, Kyle Hamilton. I'm sorry. Yes, sir. Oh, yeah.
That sounds like a combo right there at safety.
Well, yeah. Again, this is the perfect complement to a guy like Kyle Hamilton. Can do almost all the same things, but it kind of frees Hamilton up to play underneath because he roams the deep secondary so well.
So he'd be the roamer and not Hamilton, because Hamilton's good at roaming too.
They can mismatch. They can swap. That's why I said this is perfect for them.
Wow.
And this is how I made most of my choices. I didn't just say they needed somebody at this position, so they should take this guy. I tried to match up schemes that they run and other players that they already have. And that's what made this the perfect fit for me anyway. I don't know if it'll be the same for the Baltimore Ravens, but in my estimation, it should be.
Nick Imawari.
Yes. Eman Worry.
All right, there you go. Next up.
Next up, the Detroit Lions. They need help on defense, and everybody knows that.
No.
Got them taking an edge rusher because Aiden Hutchinson is coming back. They need somebody on the other edge. That would be Shamar Stewart. Now, I had Shamar Stewart going earlier to somebody else, but I don't think he's going to go that early. He should fall to the Lions. If he does, this will be a good thing for them. He's 6'5". He's out of Texas A&M. Excuse me, Texas A&M, 6'5", 267. Put on a show at the combine. There were a lot of people weren't even thinking about this guy early on in the process, but he went to the combine. He showed off. He's 6'5", 267, ran a 4.59 40, and had a 40-inch vertical jump. That ain't bad for 267 pounds.
Oh, that's a power forward in the NBA.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. He should fit perfectly in the Lions' basic 4-3 scheme and be a nice complement to Aiden Hutchinson on the other side of their D-line. He controls and sheds blocks when setting the edge in the run game, so he's already good at that. His pass rush skills can use a little bit of refinement, but he has all the physical skills to handle that. The coaches can fix that in training camp, and he's already a hell of a bull rusher. He destroys offensive tackles with his strength and physicality alone. So once he gets some more tools in his pass rush bag, you know, some rip moves and swim moves and all that stuff, he'll be perfect.
They'll be running to Aiden Hutchinson's side.
And that could be a disaster. Because I just saw some tape. I just saw some tape of Aiden Hutchinson working out. And he looks great.
Really? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right, Shamar. Aiden Hutchinson sounds like a crazy combo there. Next up,
with the number 29 pick, the Washington Commanders take edge rusher Nick Scorton. Nick Scorton is also out of Texas A&M. I believe he played on the other side from Shamar Stewart. So if they go back to back, I think that'd be pretty neat. Edge rusher out of Texas A&M, 6'4", 285. Scorton profiles as a hand in the dirt, 4-3 defensive end, which is the Commanders' basic defensive scheme. So he fits perfectly there as far as the scheme that they run. He wins with quickness, great hand placement, and a devastating spin move. His pass rush arsenal is already pretty advanced, and he sets a strong edge against the run also. So he would fit in perfectly with the Commanders, who need a lot of help on defense, but it's smart to start up front.
Oh yeah. Build inside out, no doubt about it.
Yep.
Smart organization, and they stand to be competitors and something to deal with for the NFC East in the years going forward. Nick Scorton. All right, come on, Benny, say it with me. Commanders. Okay, who's up next?
Up next with the number 30 pick, the Buffalo Bills will select another cornerback. There's a lot of corners going in the first round, ain't it?
Yeah.
Cornerback, Darian Porter out of Iowa State, 6'3", 195. Because I would consider this guy a big corner. Yeah. The Bills are another very zone-heavy defensive team, and Porter has solid route recognition and anticipation skills that plays extremely well in cover 3 and cover 4. He also has the speed and length to play big receivers man-to-man. So this guy is versatile enough to play man-to-man, maybe the type of guy that can travel. If you have a very explosive wide receiver that needs to be handled man-to-man sometimes, but very good in zone defenses, which is the schemes that the Bills play mostly. So he fits in very well there.
All right, Darian Porter. Next up.
Next up, the Kansas City Chiefs at number 31. Obviously, they need help on the offensive line. I got them taking offensive tackle Ariante Ursary, 6'6", 331. First of all, he's massive in size, and he's a devastating blocker in the run game. He's exceptionally durable, hasn't had a lot of injuries, shows up every game, got a great anchor against bull rushers, and has the length to tangle with speed rushers. So size-wise, he's kind of perfect for a left tackle. He may start at right tackle at first, but this guy could be their left tackle of the future at 6'6", 331, has all the tools to handle that job.
Wow. I said the tight end was the quarterback's best friend. But after listening to that description of this guy, if I'm Pat Mahomes, that's my best friend.
Exactly.
Right there. Come here, buddy. Me and you. Let me get you a golf cart. All right, Benny. So that was number 31.
Yep.
We're about to finish this thing off with the Super Bowl champion. Okay. That's a little hard for me to be that.
That hurt a little bit?
That hurt a little bit. I had a hard time getting that. So I'm gonna just let you go ahead. That's enough.
That's enough.
Who you got next, Ben?
Yeah. Well, now, before I say who I'm going to take here, I got a little story. Just a very small little story. I originally had the Eagles taking a linebacker. But then I talked to our friend of the show, Mark Russell. And Mark Russell told me that he really, really liked this DN/edge rush guy out of Ohio State named Jack Sawyer, 6'4", 260. He said he liked him. Now, I wanted to get him on there just for Mark because last year he told me he liked Drake London, the receiver out of USC. And I was like, Drake London. Drake London turned out to be a pretty good player.
Mark's building some credibility around here. Hey,
he's
Mark.
building up his credibility. Yes, he is. However,
he's still the worst Eagle fan ever, but that's okay.
He is still the worst Eagle fan ever. However, just a couple of days ago, I watched Georgia's pro day, and I saw Jalen Walker's workout. Bro, if the Eagles don't take Jalen Walker, they're crazy. I got Jalen Walker, the linebacker, out of Georgia, 6'1", 243 pounds, going to the Philadelphia Eagles. He's still kind of developing as an off-ball linebacker. He needs a little work in coverage, but I don't think they'll be afraid to take this guy. He is a devastating pass rusher, which is what I think they look at first. He's still developing a little bit as an off-ball linebacker, and he could probably use a little bit of work in his coverage skills, but he has the size, the speed, the physicality, and the versatility to be able to handle that. I'm sure the coaches will take care of that in training camp. But right now, right off the bat, day one, he's a devastating pass rusher. He takes on the sheds blocks really well in the run game, so he's got that part down. That's the two most important things, I think, to the Eagles right off the bat. If, in fact, can cover also, that'll be a big plus for them. So I like Jalen Walker. He destroyed a blocking sled in his pro day. I mean, he lifted the whole sled up off the ground and turned it over. It was incredible.
Really?
Yeah.
Destroyed the blocking sled, eh?
Destroyed the blocking sled.
Wow. They had a video of who was it that son went to the Cardinals? He's a junior.
Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, Marvin Harrison. So he shoots the ball out. He pushes the button, shoots the ball out, and then runs underneath and catches it.
A basketball.
No, football.
Oh, a jugs gun.
Jugs gun. Yeah, he had a jugs gun. And he shoots. He shoots
the ball out and then runs under it and catches
it.
I've seen that.
Yeah. some of these guys are amazing, man. I mean, gee, me Christmas, the stuff that they're doing nowadays. But so you think the Eagles should take Jalen Walker, eh?
Yes.
He's one of those guys.
And he's a Georgia guy. You know how he loves the Bulldogs.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Now he's got 3 pair of glasses, one down here, one up here. And he's still just going to go ahead and pick the Georgia guy. You know?
Right.
He didn't
pick the Georgia guy
to figure that one out. But you said so he's still a linebacker though, right? So I mean, you still
but in the scheme that Georgia used him, it was like a 3-4. So he's outside linebacker. Sometime he covered, sometime he rushed, but he mostly rushed.
Mostly rushed. Okay. So they got one of those guys. Woo! All right. Well, you know, your Giants got to deal with him first. Your Giants and those guys got to deal with this guy. All right. For the monster in you, man, Jalen Walker, congratulations, making Ben's NFL 2025 mock draft list. Do you have any honorable mentions or somebody to keep an eye out on you might want to mention? I know.
Yeah, so like I said when we first started, there were some people on my 1.0 whose names you would not hear in 2.0. I didn't eliminate players as much as change my mind about the player that better fit for a particular team. So much to my dismay, a guy I really, really like, wide receiver Obuka out of Ohio State, the national champion again, did not get picked in the first round. He is going to be a diamond, not necessarily in the rough, but he's going to be a diamond for somebody to grab in the second round. I'm telling you, he won't last long.
Okay.
He'll definitely get picked.
Okay.
Some people had him going to the Seahawks, but I didn't think so. So we'll see. Could still happen.
Hey man, and again, like you said in the beginning of the show, the trading of picks and moving up and moving down and all around hasn't really started yet.
Right.
When it kicks off, it's probably going to kick off in a fury.
I'm sure somewhere before we get through the first round, there's going to be at least one trade of draft picks, maybe two.
Okay. Somebody's moving up, somebody moving down.
There's going to be somebody, and it could be the Pittsburgh Steelers, who just say, you know what? Screw all this. We got to get Shador. And they're going to try to trade up ahead of the Saints to get him.
Actually, they're playing around with
yeah,
much as they are, man. You know.
Yeah, well,
I like what's his name, the defensive lineman. Was it Haywood? What he said?
Yeah.
You want to be a Steeler or not?
Yeah, right. But if you know Aaron Rodgers, that's just gonna make him not say nothing even more. You know what I mean? He's just that kind of guy.
What can I say?
So the best thing for them to do is just move on. You know, he'll probably, if he can't find anybody that loves him, he'll probably retire.
Yeah.
You know,
that's probably what I would think would be the best thing. All right, Benny, that wraps up your mock draft. I'm going to ask you one question before we sign off.
Okay.
Have you had a chance to watch any UFL?
Yes, I have watched a game or two. Well, I watched 3/4 of a game and half of a game. I haven't watched the game all the way through. Yeah, pretty good play, man. The league's getting better.
League's getting better, man.
League's getting better. It's a lot more watchable than it used to be when it was 2 leagues.
Right.
Most of the good teams are looking really, really good. Pretty good quarterback play.
One thing I bet that came out of this, and I'm still kind of looking into it, they have something called a super challenge. You know, like you can challenge certain things, but a super challenge, you can challenge like pretty much anything. But you get one, and if you don't get it, you lose your challenge. So that was one of the things that I'm still looking into. That is the first time hearing about it, but they started calling it out there. Saw some pretty good play. Saw a last name Nakua in the UFL.
Another Nakua?
Another Nakua.
Okay.
I think there's a bunch of them guys, so we might see them anywhere.
All right.
They could show up in the NBA G League, bro.
That's something that's going to be that reminds me of something else that I'm really looking forward to is seeing how Puka does with
Devontae Adams.
thank you. I was thinking his name is Adam something. Adam something. Yeah.
Devontae Adams. Yeah. How will Puka Nakua and Devontae Adams work?
Yes, that's something that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, that's
how Devontae Adams and Puka Nakua will play together.
Yeah.
Because believe me, Devontae Adams still has some juice, but Puka Nakua is the number one receiver on that team. And they're going to keep Matthew Stafford happy for at least another year, if not two. And we'll see how that goes. That's going to be very interesting to watch.
Yeah, Devontae's no joke, man. That's for sure. That's for sure. All righty, Benny. That's all I got. You got anything?
That's all No, sir. I'm looking forward to the draft.
Looking forward to the draft. Great show. Oh, I will ask you this much. Last point. Anything about the NBA playoffs?
Yeah, how about that Russell Westbrook? He won the game for him.
Russell Westbrook has lost the game for him and won a game for him. That's Russell.
That's Russell. That's what you get.
Yeah, that's what you get. That's for sure. And the one thing, I'm not a big Russell fan. Russell and Kirk Cousins are in the same basket as far as I'm concerned. But,
oh my God.
But I will never disparage his hustle. If he don't do nothing else, the man's hustling. You know what I mean?
Right.
For sure. So, my Bulls, congratulations for making it. Got ousted real quick, but you kind of see the things that they need and their potential to grow and, add a few pieces and make some changes. Very interesting watching the Denver Nuggets, be down most of the game and then be able to come back, you know what I mean? So, and we just talking about Russell. So I'm having fun. And, last night there was like 3, 4, 5 games on like in a row.
Lakers fans are getting a little worried.
Well, yeah. But, LeBron they're talking about the next statue of LeBron should be of him pinning the ball up against the back. Yes. In that ball.
Yes.
Yes, he did. Classic.
Pretty soon they'll be able to make a whole highlight reel of just that.
Of just him picking. Yeah, they said something about he was really good at that. That was something.
Yeah.
Very, very good. So, all right, man. I'll be in touch. Let me get to the editing on this thing. Talk to you. Peace.